Two dark-skinned people in a relationship. Two brown-skinned people in a relationship. One dark-skinned man, one brown-skinned woman. One dark-skinned woman, one brown-skinned man. One dark-skinned woman, one light-skinned man. But two light skins?
What's up, y'all? I just wanted to do this quick video because I had this random thought on my mind. Because I have a question for the light-skinned women that are black male worshippers. You know, the ones that talk about how they have so much light skin privilege in society, but yet they're laid up with the colorists, but trying to be loud and wrong and check all other light skinned people and tell us what we need to be saying, thinking, feeling, how we need to perceive situations, telling us that our experiences were not that bad and that we shouldn't really be hurt about the things that have happened to us and that we'll never understand how it feels to be really black. I'm talking to those light skinned people. You know, the light skinned people that dominate the conversation, that drown out other light skinned people's perspectives. But I'm specifically directing this conversation to light skinned women because light skinned women have been the most vocal about this. I'm not just trying to pick on light skinned women. I'm not trying to come at this from a misogynistic stance and say that light skinned men are perfect and not saying anything or doing anything. If I see something problematic or ignorant that light skinned men are saying, I will address it. I have on this channel before, but I'm a woman, so I see the issues that other light skinned women have and how those issues and the mindset that some of us have, specifically the black male worship, is affecting us. So that is why I continue to address other light skinned women when it comes to this topic. I'm not trying to pick on other light skinned women. I'm not trying to pussy police you. I'm not trying to hate on your relationships. It's nothing like that. But anyway, all I wanted to say was because I just been noticing like commentary online and even from people in my real life, like these like pro-black light-skinned women that come off, give real light-skinned savior energy. And it's nothing wrong with being aware of colorism or wanting to be anti-racist or anything like that, but I just feel like, how you sitting up talking shit about black men and white women's relationships and trying to, school biracials and trying to ostracize them, and just popping mad shit about all these other groups and about their sense of self-worth or whatever. You want to be sitting up here calling black men self-hating for not liking women that look like them, but y'all are around talking about how y'all favor and praise men that don't look like you. Like, it's always some light-skinned woman sitting up somewhere talking about how they prefer dark-skinned men. So if black men are self-hating and colorist for preferring light-skinned and white women, what are you preferring them, who are sitting up here talking about they don't even prefer themselves and they don't look like you? So if black men are self-hating for preferring light-skinned and white women, how are you not self-hating for preferring dark-skinned men? It's just hypocritical. They exist in a state of hypocrisy and delusion and just repeat and recite talking points here, talking high and mighty and trying to school other people and trying to act like they're the authority of all light-skinned people. Like, no, you're not the voice of all light-skinned people. And since y'all want to sit up here and act like you are, now here's the smoke and here's somebody calling you out on your own bullshit. That's all I'm saying. How you sitting up here trying to gatekeep blackness and trying to, wag your finger at black men and all these other groups of people when, couldn't you make the argument that some of y'all are doing the same thing? I just think that that's really weird. I don't understand how you I don't understand how you believe that black men's behavior is being perceived as self-hating to everybody and everybody else thinks it's weird, but yet you don't think your behavior is being perceived as self-hating and weird. It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see a bunch of videos of light-skinned men talking about, oh, I could never date a light-skinned woman, and I don't date women that look like me, and I don't date women, that are this skin tone or that skin tone, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. I don't see light-skinned men making videos like that, but I constantly see videos of black women of all skin tones. I'm not gonna lie, I see this from black women of all skin tones always focusing in on like, what skin tone of black men they'll date and that they'll only date dark skin guys and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, and everybody knows that that's the truth. So I don't need to get too deep into that. And that's another reason why I don't really pity them with the whole dating thing. Because if you're going to restrict yourself to one tiny ass little group of men that already told you how they feel about you, well, then that's on you. You can't turn around and get mad at light skinned women and then say, oh, it's because of colorism, desirability politics. No, you've restricted yourself off to all these other group of people. And now y'all sitting around competing for this small ass group, one skin tone of men. And then y'all wonder why y'all got so much animosity and resentment towards each other based on skin tone, even though y'all are allowing this one small minority group of men to triangulate y'all against each other because they know that they're at the top of the sexual marketplace value in the black community. And part of the people who have contributed to that greatly is light-skinned women accommodating this dust and this nonsense. So you cannot sit up here and in one breath say, oh, I'm so anti-colorism, I'm so against it, I'm so offended, I feel so guilty about light-skinned privilege, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But yet you choosing the men that are clearly telling you what it is and why they're attracted to you. And y'all can keep playing coy and act like it's just a numbers game and it's just coinky dink that most quote unquote black love relationships are some type of light skin or mixed woman and a brown skin, dark skin man, whatever. All while y'all sit up here and try to school other people about colorism. Okay, that's just all I'm saying. It's like y'all be the loudest in these situations, but it's like it takes two to tango. Like dark skin men are not dating themselves. And another thing that I want to mention is that I am fully aware and have acknowledged extensively on my channel that light-skinned women are pressured into pursuing relationships with men that are darker than them, whether it be internally by the black community or externally by the media ran by non-black people as well. So I am empathetic to that and I do acknowledge that as well. I'm not denying that aspect of it. I'm basically just kind of analyzing the situation and looking at it from my perspective, in the sense that I always just found it really interesting that if you do see yourself to be a pro-black light-skinned woman, or maybe I'll say a race-conscious light-skinned woman, I always found it really interesting that most women with this mentality feel that they need their blackness to be validated by being with a man that's darker than them. They don't feel like they can have a black family or be proud to be black and be with somebody that looks like them. And I always just thought that that was really fascinating because I would think that one of the highest forms of loving your form of blackness and the way that you present is being with somebody that looks like you and creating other people that looks like you. But at the same time, one of the other beautiful things about being a black person or a person of African descent is that there is so much diversity and you can see the beauty in somebody that's way darker than you or way lighter than you or has completely different phenotype than you from a different part of the world, but y'all can relate on certain things based on the culture or upbringing and things like that. And then y'all could create children that can come out any type of way. They can come out looking like the partner or you or somebody completely different, a distant relative. You know, that's one of the amazing things. So I'm not trying to say, oh, everybody should only stay with their skin tone and only be with their skin tone. But at the same time, there is a level of self-love in that act right there. And then it's also interesting that you have these two groups of people, and I'm talking about collectively. I'm not talking about every single individual in the group or that every single relationship between dark-skinned men and light-skinned women and light-skinned women are like this. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying when you have these two groups of people who are constantly putting out the message that their blackness cannot be validated unless they're with somebody that looks the opposite from them, I think that there definitely are some psychological, you know, psychological cards that need to be pulled there, because what's going on? Because other groups are not operating like that. Not only other groups outside of the black community, but even within it. Brown skin and dark skin women, they desire who looks like them. Say what you want about the dynamic between them and how imbalanced and dusty it is. That is just true. So people can run around and say that brown skin, dark skin women have all this internalized colorism and hate themselves so much, but they go hard for men that look like them. Light skin women are not doing that. Light skinned women are running around repeating, honestly, the same rhetoric that, and again, not every single light skinned woman, but let's be real, light-skinned women are repeating very similar rhetoric about their male counterparts that dark-skinned men are saying about women that look like them, basically putting out a negative message about them and basically saying, oh, they're inadequate, that's why I can't be with them, so I have to be with this person that looks nothing like me. No, it's something internally going on within you, and there's something that needs to be validated within you to where you feel like you need your blackness validated through somebody who don't look like you. Don't try to project that onto your counterpart. That's all I'm saying. And so I'm taking a neutral perspective from the outside looking in. Because like I said in other videos, I don't have any emotional connection to those relationships. So it's easy for me to look at it from a a neutral perspective. I feel like, I've dated all shades of black men. I think honestly all shades of human race of people are beautiful. Men, women, of every skin tone, color, creed, everywhere. I ain't got no type. Beautiful people is the only thing that I like, period. Like, I'm not type of person. So I would never sit up here and talk negatively about one skin tone and say I can't date them or wouldn't find them attractive. I don't find them attractive because they look XYZ way. So it's bizarre to me. So, I don't hear a lot of other light-skinned women asking or questioning other light-skinned women about these dynamics. So that's why I'm doing this. Like, I keep trying to say, I'm not trying to pick on light-skinned women who are in these relationships, but inquiring minds want to know. For real. And then again, I understand light-skinned women are pressured into these relationships, but, also the outwardly being vocal about not liking men who look like you, that's also strange, and that doesn't give off a cute message, honestly. And I could hold brown skin and dark skin women accountable for that too, because they also bash light skin men also. And I've talked about that as well. But like I said, say what you want. Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that, but they do desire and want people that look like them. You're not out here waging war to try to create black families that look like yourself. You're trying to get your blackness validated by everybody else. So it just is what it is. And I'm going to just be honest with you. Other groups of people, including brown skin and dark skin people, they pick up on the fact that a lot of light skin people do not have a lot of confidence in their blackness and need their blackness validated by other people. And that is why they pick on mixed and light skin people the way that they do, because they understand that a lot of mixed and light skin people need external validation of their identity. And even if you listen to the rhetoric and the things that a lot of mixed and light skin people say, it really is that a lot of the time. They have a very difficult time being internally validated. And that's not just a light skin and mixed people problem. I feel like in general, people of African descent have that issue, because being validated is 50-50 in internal and external. It is a little bit of both. So it does come from both places. So if you're in a dusty black male worshiping community that triangulates women against each other, doesn't value black femalehood, and you can only find value based on these vain chance things, phenotypic, things, of course, you're going to have a difficult time validating not only yourself in a society like this that's anti-black, doesn't praise people who look like you, and then you got the men in your community that are all mentally fucked up, and they're projecting their internal issues onto you also. So it's very difficult for women of African descent to develop a healthy sense of self-love and identity as well. And I think that in light-skinned women, it just comes out differently, but nobody's talking about that. And because there's this stereotype that we just get our confidence out of thin fucking air, apparently you're supposed to come out the womb and pull our confidence out of our asses. We're supposed to naturally be conceited and everything like that. Nobody's addressing these hard conversations and these hard issues. It is half social conditioning that light-skinned women are being attracted to these relationships, but it has to be something else as well, especially the fact that they're going out of their way to distance themselves from men that look like them. And it's like, if you really love your blackness, why don't you want to create kids that look like you? Especially when this is not as common anymore, but like I have definitely known, especially a lot of, I'm not even say a lot, there were sometimes in history, probably in a lot of Gen Xers and stuff like this, sometimes there would be light-skinned women who they would get with dark-skinned men, and then they would be mad when the baby come out looking like the man. Like, I personally know a few women who was like this, and it was just weird as hell to me, especially because both my parents, they have the same phenotype as them. So it's like, why would you get with a man that you don't want your kid to look like him? And I know that that's a one-off example. I don't think that that's the majority of these relationships or anything at all. Like, I think that that's not as common, but I'm just using that as an example. Like, clearly psychologically, there's another reason why you got with this man and had a child with him, even though neither of y'all really liked that look. You know what I mean? And of course, that's an example of a couple that was not pro-black, even though this video is primarily about light-skinned women that are pro-black. But I'm just saying there's a lot of contradictions in light-skinned women's actions. And it's a lot of hypocrisy between their actions and their words. You know what I mean? Like, you saying you love your blackness, but then you attracted to men who don't love their blackness, who don't even love women that look like their mama or their sister, but they looking towards you and you look half white. And it's like, you know, your blackness is beautiful in your mixedness as well, but you don't see the beauty in a man that looks like you, but you see the beauty in a man that don't even see the beauty in himself. It's a strange dichotomy. So it's like the actions and the words are not aligning constantly. And I think that that's with black women across the board. But of course, I'm focusing on light-skinned women because I am a light-skinned woman. So I've observed this. It's just strange to me. Like, the whole black community and the whole like weird, twisted skin tone obsession that connects to sexuality and desirability is just weird as fuck. It's very toxic. I hate that I have to be associated and a part of this nonsense. I just think that it's very interesting. It's like, I'm not throwing on a key for light-skinned men or trying to demand that y'all date them or whatever. I really don't give a fuck. I could care less. Yeah, because like, I don't advocate for women to be with any specific group because that's just really dangerous. And also because I feel like the relationship issues and dynamic between men and women of African descent is a cultural thing. I don't think it's a genetic thing. And largely light-skinned and mixed people have the same issues when they get together. People can pretend like that doesn't happen. That is pretty much what happens too, because the issues are cultural. So I'm not gonna advocate for light-skinned women to date anybody because I'm just not comfortable doing that, because it's just, that's not what I'm here to do. But at the same time, you know, dating is a real thing. I'm just analyzing the situation. I don't really have any personal opinions or feelings on who's anybody's with. I'm just analyzing it from purely a social point of view. I just think that it's really interesting. It's like, it's always this rules for thee, but not rules for me when it comes to people of African descent. Everybody else is self-hating and colorist and anti-black if they don't want to date people who look like them. But if you don't want to date people that look like you, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's no psychological issues going on there. No, regardless of whatever race, skin tone, creed, ethnicity, whatever you are, if you are a person who does not want to date or entertain somebody that looks like you, never even tried it, never even gave the time of day because of some shallow ass stereotypes and some Willie Lynch ass, you know, ideas that you have about skin color, then that's an internal issue in yourself. And y'all are really exposing yourselves. You really exposing yourself, because you sitting up here trying to talk about other people and trying to make it seem like you some type of advocate for colorism when you really need to be at therapy working out your own internalized issues. And that's why I be trying to say, I'm not making this commentary or saying this trying to be mean to other light-skinned women, but I'm saying I'm just being honest. Personally, while living your life offline, just moving around the world, even online, I really suggest light-skinned women take a neutral stance on this topic. Do not say anybody's your preference. Do not say you prefer like one skin tone. Do not say what your quote-unquote type is. It's a trap. It's a setup. Whatever you say is going to be an issue, if you catch my drift. I've been dealing with this my whole life. I would just take a completely neutral stance, because aligning with this specific group of men, this specific skin tone, is now putting you in the line of fire and making you appear to be a willing participant. And I know that that sounds harsh, but that's how it looks. And that's where the animosity from other women of African descent are coming from, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. So as a woman who's not engaging in these relationships and still having to deal with the hostility from the effects of it, this is where I'm coming from with this perspective. So yeah, I think light-skinned women should take a completely neutral stance and approach when it comes to this topic, even if you do find dark-skinned men or men that are darker than you to be more attractive, or you just like being with them more for whatever reason. I don't think it should be broadcasted. And I think that that's a huge place that light-skinned women went wrong in the last few years. And again, that's where I'm saying I feel like a lot of the animosity is coming from. Light-skinned women should have taken a neutral stance from the start. And I think that the insecurity and the self-hate and the way that it is it comes out within light skin and mixed people, that really needs to be talked about more. And it's not being talked about because not only ourselves, but society wants to put out this idea that we're these like, we're so confident to the point where we're narcissistic and we're like kind of like delusional, insane, to the point where it's festering in more mental health issues because we're not addressing these issues because we're acting like everything's okay. If you're sitting around saying, oh, I'm a privileged group, all the other black people, they're the ones that need help, I'm taken care of, I'm good, whole time you running around with all these psychological issues, self-hatred, and attracting yourself to abusive relationships, yeah, you thinking to somebody else that that's translating into you having self-pride and being a privileged light-skinned woman, when really to everybody else it's really just being interpreted as what it is, which is really just identity confusion a lot of the times. So anyway, that was just my food for thought because I just randomly thought about that. Like, how you saying that you would not date a light-skinned man, but you over here talking about you don't like colorists? Like, girl, so in my opinion, y'all really are just exposing us to what is attracting y'all to each other. Y'all both have issues with y'all's male or female counterpart. It's something within you that's not healed, so y'all end up being attracted to each other because something vapid or something empty there where y'all end up connecting to each other and building a relationship from there emotionally. And I want to make it clear, I'm not saying like, I'm not pushing the stereotype like when they're like, oh yeah, light-skinned women and dark-skinned men, they just get together to spite dark-skinned women or anything like that. No, I don't think it's a conscious thing. I don't think it's anything that they're doing and trying to spite dark-skinned women specifically. I think it's very subconscious. But at the same time, if you don't have nobody pointing out to you and pointing out the bullshit and the hypocrisy to you, then you're going to continue to be sitting up in society looking crazy. And that's how y'all look right now. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Get in the comment sections. Let me know what y'all thought about this video. Just a little quick food for thought and a little quick take. Let me know what you think about it. Peace.